Um, Keely, you can get us started if you like.
Yeah, okay. Woo, well, this is very exciting. Took a little while to get here, but now that we're all here, it's really great to be together and just basically this webinar is an introduction and an experience full of conversation for powerful women coming together and just sharing our experiences, which is really important. We don't really get much opportunity to just sit and really share from the heart. And this is just a human common experience, which is emotions. We all have an emotional body, we all have emotional experiences. So we'll be using this webinar to talk about doTERRA essential oils and how they can support us on an emotional level through mental well-being. So it's really wonderful for everyone to join, and this will be really great. So we'll do a little introduction about ourselves before we get too far into it.
Yes, thank you. Can everyone see the screen fine? Thumbs up that you can see? Okay, perfect. Keely, back to you.
I'll start off with myself, might as well, because my voice is out there. So we'll just do a little slide for each person with 5 fun little facts about us and our favorite oils. So this is me, I'm Keely. I am a new yoga teacher, so I'm navigating a lot right now in terms of learning how to be a teacher and with everything going on and kind of going more virtual. The second thing about me is I love to travel. I'm from the United States originally, but I've lived in New Zealand and now I'm living in Australia. My third thing is I'm passionate about low waste living. So I'm really doing my best to grow my own food, reduce plastic waste, and just live more consciously. And the fourth thing is my new favorite interest is gardening. So as you can see behind me, I've got a few plants and I'm just obsessed with being around nature and bringing nature into all spaces, including my living space, and again, just growing my own food. And then the fifth thing is my current favorite TV show. So just a fun little thing is Doctor Who. I've been super obsessed with geeking out on that. And my favorite oil is Digest Zen. So that's really helpful for my stress and my anxiety. A lot of my mental experiences manifest within my physical body, which relate to my gut and digestion. So that oil is a savior for me. So that's a little bit about me.
Awesome. Hey everybody, my name is Kim. I'm from California and lived a few different places around the States, but now I live in New Zealand because I'm married to Kiwi. So here I am the last 3 years. I've been dancing my whole life. I've been a mover, a lover of movement ever since I can remember. I've taught Pilates for quite a long time, also different types of movement modalities and somatics, and now yoga too. I've been doing recently this year some intensives for young people with Crohn's or colitis. So like Keely spoke about digestive issues, that came up for me as a teenager. So I'm now trying to help younger people navigate those times and kind of pass on what I've learned basically the past 20 years to like live more holistically, support my gut health and my overall health holistically. So hopefully they learn that information a lot faster than I did. And I love nature. I love being in New Zealand because I can take so many different bushwalks and hikes and be near the beach. And I'm also interested in getting into gardening and I'm new to it. So I should maybe get some tips from you, Keely. My favorite oil is Balance. I mean, it's hard to pick a favorite, but it's one that I gravitate towards really often. I really need like earth grounding support because I can get really in my head. And whenever I get kind of anxious or feeling overwhelmed, or like my emotions are going to want to hijack me, Balance and Adaptive, but Balance mostly I've been gravitating towards. It smells like a forest and it's a really amazing blend. I use it to sleep at night and anytime during the day. So yeah, that's a little bit about me. And we'll go on to Deanna.
Hi everybody, I am Deanna. I, number one, love plants too. I can't get enough of them. I live in sunny Florida, so hence the lack of sweaters like most of you. I was born and raised here, actually, so there aren't a lot of native Floridians. We have a lot of transient people here. So I guess that's a special little tip or trivia, whatever they call it. I'm a Virgo, and I'm also Pitta. So if you guys like Ayurveda, that is my composition. I think that's what it's called. So lots of heat and fire in my life. So I was recently married to my best friend and my adventure buddy. So we always go out and take our dog Mud and go out and adventure in the woods, the wooded part of Florida. And then I have a desire to nurture hearts and happiness with the people around me. So that gets me in trouble sometimes, but that's my passion. I try to help. And then sandalwood is my favorite oil, and I'll talk a little more about that later.
Yay. Maggie.
Hi, I'm Maggie. I am a mother to my crazy boy Calvin. I'm a holistic esthetician. I live on San Juan Island, and I am studying and have always been into herbalism. I just love herbs. Like since a young age, I've been like very attracted to them. And I love people. I love everyone, like everyone I've ever met. I love them. Everyone in the world to just feel what I get to feel every day, which is happy and healthy. Oh, and my favorite oil is frankincense. I love it. I put it in everything, my skincare, my diffuser, under my tongue. So yeah, it's a great oil.
Love frankincense. All right, Keely, do you want to start us off here?
Yes. And with the slides, I think we can make it bigger on the bottom. There's 3 dots. Yeah, that.
I didn't notice that. Sorry.
No, that's okay. I was just trying to figure it out as well. So yeah, before we go any further, I think it's really essential to make this very clear that just for your own awareness and your own well-being, we're not here to, say don't ever go to a healthcare professional or only use oils. So all of the information here is not intended for any diagnosis, cure, prevention, or anything like that. Everything here is just personal experiences, lived experiences, and felt experiences, which are super powerful. But that doesn't always mean that a healthcare professional will have experienced that themselves or will suggest this advice. So just use your own discernment with what feels right for you and your own experience. And yeah, so it's educational, but also fun. And it's not really a replacement for medical advice. So if you've been given medical advice or you're in the search of seeking medical advice, I'd still say, go see your professional and get that advice from someone who's qualified. But to just remain open and just kind of see how this information feels within your body and doing your own research and just allowing yourself to maybe explore this space while still having that qualified healthcare professional to support and guide you while you're also exploring this more holistic plant medicine. And don't ever be afraid to reach out for consultation from licensed and qualified healthcare professionals. So if you're actually seeking someone to diagnose you, if you're looking for some type of cure or treatment and support, it's really important that we can give you our personal experiences, but we definitely cannot offer those particular cures or diagnoses for you. So, and we don't have that intention behind as well. We're just sharing from the heart. And these are just, essential oils are basically excellent tools for support and guidance. So it's used in addition to all the suggestions from a healthcare professional. So it's a real intuitive process and just figuring out what is right for you. So just a bit on that.
Cool. And on that note, we will start to share the 3 groovy things about essential oils, particularly doTERRA's. So first, they are natural, 100% natural and safe. They are effective and affordable. And we'll dive into this a little bit here. So this first groovy thing about being natural and safe. So what's really unique about doTERRA's oils is that they have a standard that no other essential oil company has. And they're the only essential oil company that has complete transparency in their testing. So you can look at the bottom of your bottle and there'll be a number, and you can plug that into a website called sourcetoyou.com. You put the number in, and then you can see the batch of oil that you're holding in your hand, the test results from that oil. So it's super open and transparent, and you can see that there will not be any pesticides or contaminants or adulterants, but also that it has the pure oil in it. Because unfortunately this industry is not regulated, so it can say on it 100% pure or organic or natural or whatever, but not actually have the constituents in it that would make it a medicinal essential oil, right? And so that's why a lot of us have really profound experiences with doTERRA's oils, because they are not only tested well, but they are grown in their indigenous habitats, which is amazing. So doTERRA seeks out countries and locations where the plants thrive the best, and then look into collaborating with the farmers and supporting their communities and their farm and their families, so that they have a great experience and we receive the best oil. So there's no crazy side effects that you might get from a synthetic medication. There aren't addictive properties that you can also get from something synthetic. They are extracted from the plant for optimal benefits. And like I said, they are certified pure therapeutic grade, which is very unique. And then, we've mentioned frankincense already. Maggie, do you want to elaborate a little bit more on frankincense while this slide is up, since it's one of your favorite oils?
For sure. So I started using it for meditation, really. It's an amazing oil for meditation. And like it says here, it improves focus, soothing and calming, balances mood, cellular support, healthy immune response, supports nearly every system in the body. That's incredible. I love that. Some of the other things, it's anti-cancerous, it's anti-inflammatory, it's antidepressant, which is kind of something that I've used it for. I was having a really hard time a few weeks ago even, and I just started taking 1 drop under my tongue, and I cannot believe like the difference that it made. It helped me get out of my head. Do you know what I mean? Like when you're really like stuck on something that happened, or probably even works the other way when you're focused on something in the future, maybe nervous about. This oil is magic. It will get you out of that stuck place and bring you back into the moment. It's incredible, and I recommend it for all of these things.
Yeah, totally. I love frankincense, and it also is really a cool oil because it amplifies any other oil that you mix it with. So I'll often just blend it with other oils that I enjoy, and it's just, the scent is amazing. Just it's powerful. So I'm with you, Maggie. It's one of my favorites too. Does anybody want to take this one, effectiveness on the oils?
I can do it. Okay. Do you want to do it, Maggie, or you want me to do it?
Go for it, girl.
Okay. So how fast do oils work? So in 22 seconds, we got a lot of the twos here. So in 22 seconds, it takes the molecules to reach the brain, right? So if you sniff whatever oil you have in front of you, or when I was putting the cheer on earlier, so that cheer, the oil that you're smelling in 22 seconds will reach your brain, right? So then in 2 minutes from now, those essential oils will have penetrated our bloodstream, right? And so the essential oils have the capability to penetrate that blood-brain barrier. So it attaches much better to our blood. I don't do the scientific part very well, but somebody knows it. And then in 20 minutes, the essential oil has the ability to affect every cell in our body. So halfway through our talk here, you'll be able to start feeling the effects of the essential oils that you've used. So it's pretty impressive. I personally have a lot of experience with the past tense. So within literally, I feel like seconds, if I have a headache, I'll just roll some of that past tense on and I'm good to go. My headaches are gone, and the tension that I hold in my head and shoulders just immediately relaxes. So it's a good example.
Yes. Yeah. And it is interesting how you'll feel like an immediate response, and then minutes later, a different sort of response, and go, oh, wow, I feel different now when it's in the bloodstream.
Yes, it's true.
Yeah. Another thing to add on the effectiveness, on here it says using alongside modern medicine. There are times when, say you go to the doctor for a cold or flu and they say, oh, it's a virus, so just go home and take care of yourself, drink lots of water. There's not a medication for that. Whereas if you have a bacterial infection, they can give you antibiotics, right? Well, the thing is that that bacteria live outside of our cells, where viruses live inside the cell. And because essential oils can penetrate cell walls, the oil can influence the virus inside the cell, right? So just keep that in mind, that because they're plants and the molecules are so small and our body welcomes them, there's an immediate and effective response from our body and the oils working together, which is incredible. Does anyone else want to add anything on that? All good?
Just a quick little thing. So the brain barrier is actually something that you would need to spend a bit of time actually doing some reading on. It's really interesting though, and I need to learn more about it as well. But for anyone who's not quite sure on the brain barrier, so basically you've got your beautiful juicy brain sitting inside all these wonderful juices, and you've got all the cells inside and the blood vessels, and the only way that anything can actually enter the blood-brain barrier is if you have transporter proteins that can support the movement from one cell to the next, through the nervous system up into the brain. And so not everything can do that. Not all medications actually can break the blood barrier, or not all products and things like that. So it's really important that to just be aware of what can actually enter into that stream, because your brain impacts everything. And we want to make sure we're putting in that really wholesome and I guess supportive products, materials, all that kind of stuff. We want our brains to be healthy. So when we're using the plants and they go through the brain, that's how it actually hits our brain within 22 seconds, that's how it goes into our bloodstream, and that's how it impacts every cell in the body, because it can actually access our brain, which not everything can do. So that's it's just cool, I guess. I just love it.
Thank you for explaining that part. It's amazing how when you have the science to really support, the belief, it's magical.
Okay, the last part. Anyone want to chime in on this last groovy thing?
Oh, go ahead.
I feel like I don't want to step on anyone's toes. Is there anyone that wants to do it, or shall I?
Go for it, Keely.
Okay, affordable. This is my favorite part, because I think most of us truly enjoy a budget, but also when it comes to emotions and mental health, unfortunately, it is not the most accessible thing. We need the support. Some of us may need therapy or counseling or certain medications to function and feel really good in our day-to-day lives, or certain supplements, etc. And once you really start going, okay, I'm ready to take that step and take care of myself, or I really need support right now, and I need to put myself out there. And then when you get hit with costs, or various barriers, it can make it very hard to have the motivation to continue and actually do something that's really beneficial for yourself. But also it may seem kind of impossible. So the amazing thing about doTERRA is that it is an affordable option compared to a lot of more of the mainstream type of stuff, because there's various ways that we can actually purchase, which we'll get more into later on how you can kind of save money through your purchases of doTERRA. And what's amazing is just the amount that you get per bottle, and that will really bring the cost into perspective. So it's 250 drops per 15 milliliter bottle. Do I have one near me? Yes, I do. So we've got a 15 milliliter bottle, it's about this big. So that's got 250 drops. Generally, you only need to use 1 or 2 drops. So if you used 1 drop a day, that's 250 days that you've got this 15 milliliter bottle to impact every cell in your body. So that's really incredible. And so, for instance, I have lavender here as an example. So this is in Australian prices, but if you buy wholesale, in Australia, it's $28, but per drop, that's 11 cents. So when you break it down that way, it's really reasonable. It can kind of quiet those thoughts of, oh, I can't, maybe afford to take care of myself, or it's too expensive, or it can really allow you, when you look at how much you get in a bottle and how much each drop is, hopefully that can create a sense of ease and really bring you into the rational mind of the brain and kind of calm down and go, oh, okay, you know what, that's actually something that I can do for myself. And then retail, it's $57.55 in Australia. So per drop, that's $15. So that kind of gives you an idea of how much it would be. And wholesale is when you join for a year membership, and retail is if you're just doing a one-off purchase, which we'll go a little bit into more detail about that later. But just so you have it in the back of your head, there are different ways to purchase the oils.
Yeah, and that was such a beautiful way that you described that, Keely. And not to mention that you often will realize that the oil that you purchase for one reason, like lavender, is amazing for calming the nervous system and supporting us for rest and sleep. But then you'll realize, oh, it's also amazing for my skin. Or if you're like me and you're clumsy in the kitchen and you burn your hand or something, lavender, it helps with burns or cuts or bug bites or scars. So in that sense, it becomes even more affordable because you're using the oils in all areas of your life. So yeah. All right, cool. So on that note, this next part, 3 ways to use the essential oils. Does anyone want to start with aromatic and talk about that a bit?
Well,
I'll talk about that.
But if somebody wants to talk about it, you want to talk about it, Mike?
Sure. Okay. This is one of my favorite ways to use oils, like when I first get them. The first thing I do is I open the bottle and I smell it, and then I'll put it in the diffuser and feel it. Yeah, it instantly lifts my mood and my son. I notice that a lot. It's really fun to watch him. I turn on the diffuser and within 5 minutes, my kid is either calm or focused. It's incredible. I love diffusing. Yeah, and it's the most gentle way of experiencing an oil, I feel like. Yeah.
Perfect. Anyone want to add on to any of that? I think you said it perfectly. And then topical use. Deanna or Keely, do you want to share?
Sure, I can share. So topically, I like to use Deep Blue a lot for anytime I get done exercising or even going hiking and things like that. Topical use is great to really pinpoint a particular area. So, or even if you, like today, my dog's tail scratched my eye. And so at work, it was hurting. So I got, I think you guys call it lavender, what is it? Lavender Peace in Australia. In the States, it's called Serenity. But I just got a little bit and I rubbed it around my eye. And after doing that every few hours, the pain actually went away. So that's a great way to really pinpoint a topical use for your oils. Of course, you want to make sure it's diluted and it doesn't, it's not burning you. But yeah, so topical use is great to immediately focus on one specific area. So,
do you want to talk just a little bit more about dilution?
Yes. So dilution will help. So you use a carrier oil like coconut oil, or sometimes I have jojoba oil or even olive oil, depending on what is good for your skin type. But say sandalwood, it can be very potent. So that one drop of your 250, you can have that go a lot, spread out a lot longer by diluting it or mixing it with a carrier oil, such as coconut oil. So you could do 10 drops of coconut oil to 1 drop of your essential oil, I think is a general range. But it really helps to just spread out the essential oil and help it to penetrate and last a little bit longer. I think, did that answer the question?
That's how I think of it. Yeah, it just helps get more out of your oil, your essential oil.
Yeah, so it's like you're getting 2,500 drops instead of 250.
Cool. All right, I'll share on internal use just because I've done this quite a bit. So there are many oils that are safe for internal use. And the oils that aren't, it'll have like a child lock cap on it. But if it has supplement facts or directions like use, what does it say here? That's actually not one for that. Yeah, it'll say directions for flavoring use. So it'll say on there and give you the indication either by supplement facts or for flavoring use that it is safe for ingesting. And any oil that's an herb that you would cook with, you know, basil or rosemary or any of that, you know, it's logical sense that you can ingest them. So I personally have used, actually today, my husband has been like working like a dog since lockdown got out. And it's winter here. And so now he got a cold, which he usually does every winter. So I created, see in this, on the slide, they have those plain veggie caps. So I get those veggie caps and I just fill it up with a concoction of oils that will support his immunity and help get the virus or the bacteria through his body a bit quicker. So it's a combination of frankincense, lemon, on guard, tea tree, and oregano. Oregano is super strong. And the way I first got into the oils was through oregano for my gut. And I did use it internally. If you don't like the taste of it, you can put it in the veggie cap. Or if it's a hot oil, like oregano, cinnamon, clove, you'd want to put in the veggie cap because it's just intense. But if it's an oil that you like the flavor, for example, citrus, I put a drop of lemon or wild orange or grapefruit into my water. Super happy, uplifting. The citrus oils are amazing for when your mood feels a bit low or heavy. It's very light and happy. My favorite is to actually combine lemon. This isn't for internal use, but in a diffuser, lemon and ylang ylang, just because it's such a happy aroma. It's really, really mood altering, basically. Yeah, so these are all the ways you can use the oils, and it's just personal choice. You know, some people love taking the oils internally, and some people like are uncomfortable with it. You know, some people love put it on topically. I also am like that too. I like to put it like around the back of my neck, near my pulse points, on my belly if I need support in my tummy. But I think all of us love aromatic use, and we want to smell and enjoy the oil. So yeah, you have many good options in how you can use the oils. Okay, Keely, do you want to lead us through this next slide?
Yeah, definitely. So which essential oils from doTERRA will benefit my anxiety management toolkit? So I like to view anxiety, stress, or just the mental well-being umbrella wherever you fit, or, you know, and where we fit will constantly change over time, where these beautiful spectrums, so oils that we need and that we like and are drawn to, that's going to adapt and change over time, just like our mental well-being management plan. We'll find different tools that really resonate, and then maybe we'll need to let them go for a bit and find new ones. So oils are very much the same. So we'll go through just a few of the ones that we use personally, that we have relationships with, and we can really talk about our personal experiences. But this is definitely, there's no limit. There's a lot of different variations that you can use, but we'll give a little personal experience, and it's just because there's so many unique qualities, symptoms, and preferences of every single person that we just can't cover every oil. That would take way too long, so we'll just share some of our favorites. And I'll begin with rose. So Rose, I put this here. This is more of a luxurious oil, and it's definitely one of the higher price options. So if you were to look up rose straight away, don't be scared, okay? Not every oil is in this price range, but I thought I would put it there because it's just so special and so powerful, and just one to be aware of. But it's, again, it might not be essential right now. So this is the oil, it's known as the oil of divine love. It's such a strong floral sense. It's like you're just inhaling a whole forest of roses. It's just so intense, but so beautiful. And because it's the oil of divine love, of course, it has a lot of relationship with our heart center, and feelings of love. So when there's moments where there's a real heaviness in the chest, the body is a bit slouched, which typically is more from a depressive or down type of energy day. You just, your shoulders are hunched, you're feeling a bit heavy, the heart is really caved inward, and it can feel like the world is just sitting on the chest. So this happens with me quite often. I do have generalized anxiety. I've had this my whole life. And yeah, Rose is just putting it on the chest, and it's as if my shoulders are standing taller and breathing more clearly, and there's more love, or just more feelings of, okay, I can do this. It's this instant kind of shift between my thoughts or my belief of the day. It's just this, okay, whoa, this kind of release. And that's not saying that will happen every time, but usually there is this sensation, this real physical awareness that of an opening, which is really a felt experience, but really powerful. And it's really empowering because you feel in control of the body. So that's one of my favorite things about Rose. And with essential oils, they do have studies behind them. As Kim mentioned before, it's not a well-studied area. So hopefully in time we get more studies. But I have 2 studies that I've wrote down. If you'd like links for them, you can always message me after the webinar. But they actually did a study on people after surgery, so post-op patients in a hospital. And they used Rose, and all they were doing was inhaling. So just taking the bottle, opening it, and breathing in the smell of rose. And that was shown to decrease their pain levels for a 24-hour period, which is pretty incredible. And within that 24-hour period, it also stimulated the brain to release feel-good endorphins. So that dopamine, it was like a hit to the brain and really decreased the pain levels. So I thought that was really incredible. So that's a little scientific research. Of course, there's more room for research in this field, but the aromatherapy component of Rose just shows you how powerful it is to decrease pain in patients. So it's a real soothing type of oil. So that's kind of what I love about Rose. Does anyone else have experiences with Rose?
Yeah, I really love like how a rose petal is shaped like a heart, and then like the rose is like the best for heart opening and compassion. Like I feel like when I take rose, I find like more compassion for myself or for the people around me. I think rose is incredible for that, for maybe like a perspective shift even happens, you know?
This is going to sound weird, but I use mine right after I get out of the shower. I use it to really tap into my femininity. And sometimes, I work hard and I work with a bunch of men, and sometimes I'll work with my husband in construction and stuff. So like, I need to get my females, get in my zone. So I'll get the roller ball and I'll start in my belly button, and I'll just put a little bit in my belly button, and then I'll draw up and I do little like swirl designs on my chest and abdomen. And it just, to me, it makes me feel like more of a woman. I don't know why, but I really feel like it helps and it encourages that softness and femininity, and it just brings a peace to me after the end of the day. So just fun little art project.
Cool. Well, I think that covers Rose, but there's quite a few studies on Rose as well. In terms of just kind of last fun little information here, is there was a separate study that actually showed it decreased blood pressure, heart rate, your breathing rate, cortisol levels, which we know is a major impact on stress. It's quite an upper when we need to come down, and blood oxygen levels. So all of those categories are very common symptoms when it comes to anxiety, stress, depression, and other mental kind of aspects when our emotions are really in hyperdrive. And so the fact that this study showed that those levels also decreased with rose. So it's a really powerful oil. So it's a bit luxurious, but when you get your hands on it, it's really powerful. And then next to rose, we have patchouli. So patchouli is one of my new favorites at the moment. This one has been a bit of a savior for me. This is the oil of presence, and I've been really needing that. Just like everyone, life's been a bit different. Life's been having to adapt really quickly. And even though life is always an unknown, it's been a real kind of in our face of, oh, you know, this actual reality. And I've been really needing to ground down and be present because there's been a lot of shifts, a lot of changes within my own life. Lost a job, got a new job, went from not many hours to now I'm working full time. I'm up really early, I'm home really late, rinse and repeat. So it's a very different type of way of living. And working for somebody else as a disability support worker, I'm spending a lot of time doing things, doing, and not really being present. And as you can imagine, for a more anxious person, that can really just, for me, brings me up here and I can't come down. I'm just in this hyper state and can't come down, can't sleep. So that's kind of how it impacts me. So patchouli is my best friend at the moment because it really brings me back to myself. So I use it for yoga, for meditation, and before bed, putting one drop on my wrists, rubbing it around, inhaling, and then I rub my wrist over my heart and just kind of lie in bed. I've been waking up at 2 or 3 and just can't go back to sleep. When that happens, bottle next to my bed, grab it, and just keep repeating that and using my breath to calm me down. If I notice my heartbeat is coming up, then I just breathe into the scent, and just give it time to really settle me. So it really complements physical movement practices, but I think it really complements breath work practices as well. Just bringing that awareness, that grounding, that presence into the body. So if you're into yoga, into breath work, curious to try it out, patchouli is great. Even hiking, anything where you're moving your body or intentionally moving the breath, patchouli is an excellent companion for that.
Yeah, I love patchouli as well because like you, I really enjoy grounding, kind of heavier, earthy oils. We've been actually talking together in our little group chat about the oils we've been using, and eucalyptus along with patchouli is a really amazing blend. And energetically, eucalyptus is the oil of wellness. And so those together, I think this time of year and with us all feeling a bit stressed with life being so different, I found that combination incredible. All right. And actually this next one, vetiver, I was going to talk about too. So this is one of my favorites, the oil for centering. When scattered, this oil supports coming down back to earth, connects us to emotions and self-awareness, challenges feelings of needing to escape. This is a very heavy oil. I would also call it the oil of patience because you have to be very patient to wait for a drop to come out. It is kind of like tree sap, you know, it's very, very thick. It's very earthy and yeah, I love this oil. I've definitely had some really kind of like body mind release kind of experiences with this oil. I'll definitely dilute this because it's so thick just to really spread it onto my body. I use it a lot on my heart space and on the soles of my feet. We have lots of pores in the soles of our feet, so we can absorb oils well that way. I know that I've heard of parents with their children who might have challenges with not focusing and that kind of thing, that vetiver can be really helpful to help them calm, focus. But yeah, I just adore this oil. It's extremely, extremely grounding, and it almost puts you into a little bit of a trance if you let it. Does anyone else want to share on that one?
No, but you've convinced me to want to try that. I want to experiment now.
Does someone want to start with Copaiba? Okay, I'll start because this oil is amazing. So yeah, it acts on our neuroreceptors the same way that CBD does. There are studies that show that Copaiba may be 50 to 70 times more potent than CBD. There's a reason that doTERRA doesn't source CBD, because they haven't been able to find a source that they are happy with as far as quality. But the Copaiba they've been sourcing for a little while now, maybe 2 years or so, from Brazil. And this is kind of like the go-to oil for anxious feelings. When I was back home in the States and I had a visit with a whole bunch of family and I felt really overwhelmed, I took many drops of Copaiba under my tongue, like probably more than I should have, but I felt great. It really just calmed my nervous system and helped me just chill out a bit. It's very close to frankincense in that it has an effect on our body at a cellular level with all systems of the body. So it's used in many different protocols and recipes. It's also amazing for skincare. I put some into my skincare oil. It's just a really effective oil. A lot of people have great responses from it. Anybody else want to share about their Copaiba experiences?
Yeah, I mean, most of us live in our sympathetic nervous system. So we've got our central nervous system, parasympathetic, and our sympathetic. So most of us are in our sympathetic mode, which is fight or flight, which is why we have these feelings of anxiety or needing to run or feeling out of our body or just constantly busy, go, 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 and really struggling to come down. But we need that balance. We need our sympathetic. We need that survival instinct. But a lot of us were either not willing to go into the parasympathetic, we're kind of resistant to rest or relaxation, thinking, oh, I need to get things done all the time, or, oh, I'm not being productive enough, or, fill in your blanks with whatever. But we need to spend time in that parasympathetic state, because in that parasympathetic state is where we can feel that beautiful ease and feeling of comfort and connection with our body, with ourselves, and really figure out and have a sense of clarity. And so I find Copaiba is just amazing at tapping me into more of my parasympathetic state. And I have actually CBD that it's really hard to get in Australia. There's a couple of companies that send it here, and I got that. And it's been honestly sitting on my shelf, which is a bit of a bummer because I did pay for it, but I have the Copaiba soft gels and I also have the oil. So as Kim was saying, you can put it under your tongue, which is excellent, but I really like the soft gels because it's easy for me and I carry this around in my bag. Yeah, I get anxiety so bad sometimes that it is hard for me to drive, feel like I'm driving safely, and not all the time, but just when I'm in that really hyper sympathetic nervous system and I'm in those feelings like I need to fly or defend, even if nothing is actually happening. So the soft gels for me, best friend, take these everywhere, and I just take one or two. And most mornings, if I remember, I'll just take one a day, and then that really helps, I find, to give me a good baseline to start with. But I take them with me everywhere just in case I forget. So these are a bit of my best friend.
Uh-huh. You want to take us through, Maggie, through ylang ylang?
Yes, I do. Okay, so ylang ylang is totally like me as an oil. We found out the other day, actually, it's the oil of your inner child, which is one of my superpowers. I I live there, right? Like I love being a kid. I love that feeling of like not worrying, no care, nothing, you know. Um, Unfortunately, as an adult, I can't be there all the time. um, and yeah, life experiences. I am now a little over 5 years clean and sober. Um, this oil has been like a huge part of that. My story with it, I started using this oil when I was in school in New York City for esthetician, and I was really out of place. I was in a big city. I was around like all this busyness, and it just, there was nowhere to go for me to feel comfortable. So I was just uncomfortable all the time. And I start like intuitively, before I knew anything about oils, I had no idea that they had any like medical or like scientific anything. Like I had no idea, but intuitively, I took this oil in my hands before every single facial and I smelled it. And then I gave it to the people, you know, laying on the table and said, you know, take a deep breath in. And I started every single facial that way. And man, it grounded me like instantly. And I didn't know that was what was happening, but that is. And now that I'm coming like full circle and like understanding these oils, I'm like, yes, like go with your intuition. This oil is that as well. If you are trying to, you know, find the courage to do what you know deep down you want to do, this is the oil. It will help you. A lot of people don't like it at first, I have to say. A lot of people are like, whoa, that's too much. It's too floral. But honestly, you will fall in love with it, I promise you, as it helps you through these uncomfortable situations. Yeah, it does clear out the heart space. It does. It lifts all the weight that we have like accumulated through our experiences, like moving into adulthood. It will bring you back to feeling like a little kid. It's awesome. And yeah, a little bit of the more like facts about it. It comes from the Kanaga tree. The flowers, they're like long, like yellow flowers. Yeah, and it grows in Indonesia, Malaysia, the Philippines, like the rainforest. So I always think of like a tropical rainforest now when I'm smelling it. Now that I know that, I'm like, ooh, I'm in the rainforest. It's awesome. Yeah, so that's my experience.
I guess I can go ahead and start on the lavender. So the lavender encourages tension or bodily constriction to ease, right? So I hold so much of my tension up here. When I just rub that lavender on there, it'll automatically just release the tension. It also helps to support a quieter mind. So you can use it aromatically, spray your pillow, and it just allows you to calm your mind before sleep or meditation or whatever you're doing. And then it can also aid in lack of sleep due to a racing heart or mind. So those calming feelings all tie in together with just your well-being and sleep and stress-free, your stress-free nature. It's very helpful. Lavender is also an antiseptic and an anti-inflammatory. So it's great for putting just one drop is all you need in a hot cup of water, or you can add it to your tea or anything like that. And it really works on your internal system too. So those are 3 examples that you can use for topical, ingesting it, or aromatic to help you just calm your bind and body, your body and mind. It's late here for me. I'm sorry. So anyway, I love lavender. It's always one of my favorites. Even just going into the fields or picking the flower itself, there's something ancient and old about it that kind of resonates with me, So that's it.
Okay, so I will chat about Adaptive. This is a blend that doTERRA has had out not for very long now, It's beautiful, and it's one of those blends that pretty much everyone that smells it is like, wow, it's amazing. Um, it has wild orange copaiba, which we've talked about, lavender, which we've talked about, spearmint, magnolia, rosemary, and neroli. And I love all of those oils. So to have them all combined is just incredible. Neroli is one of my favorites, and it's got this kind of bitter, bright kind of floral, citrusy scent. And then magnolia is similar to lavender in that the chemical constituents like really help calm the nervous system. So doTERRA created these different ways that you can have the oils. So the soft gels are one way, and I actually have used these for a couple of my cycles. I had a really intense moon cycle 2 or 3 months ago, and so I was using all the hormone balancing oils on my low belly, but I also took, I think I took 2 adaptive because I just really wanted to chill out, and it so helped. I just was able to chill and like get into sleep easier and just kind of sleep off everything. So these adaptive tools are really meant for in the moment stress, anxious feelings, really giving us that sense of calm and confidence. And yeah, there's a lot of studies that doTERRA has referenced as far as formulating this blend. They took a lot of thought into formulating a blend that was just to help support stress. So they call it the oil of release, which really it is, because it's so happy and just like, right, okay. Like, you know what all of us have been saying about just like getting back into our body, back into our heart space, and not so stuck in our head. And then I'll just go right into balance, which I already spoke of. But yeah, I pulled up in the Emotions and Essential Oils book a little bit about balance. So balance is primarily a combination of tree oils and roots. Trees live in the present moment. They are not in a hurry, they are stable. Balance blends soft energy can calm overactive children who have difficulty settling down. It's also a wonderful remedy for those who need to connect with their roots. It strengthens a connection with our lower body and the earth. And it's suited for personalities who seek to escape from life through disconnection or disassociation. These individuals may avoid long-term commitments in work or relationships, preferring to drift. But balance reminds individuals that to realize their true dreams and desires, they can stay focused on a goal actualized in the real world, providing inner strength and fortitude, manifesting their vision with the patience of a tree. I just wanted to read that because it's just another way to, to kind of understand balance. Does anybody want to add anything about either one of those blends?
I use balance religiously every day at work. I like put it around my head. I know that sounds kind of funny. It's like around my face so I can always smell it in. And then I roll it on my hands. And I just feel like it's a good way to ground myself before I start my day-to-day work. And it smells like a beautiful forest. So, yes.
Cool. Oh, you again, Gianna.
I love sandalwood. So sandalwood is my absolute favorite essential oil. I started using it along with myrrh, and I was reading ancient practices of queens or courtesans who would go, and before they could meet the king, they had to go through a whole year of preparation. So 6 months they would do like cleansing and purifying their body. And then the second 6 months, they would beautify and be covered in oils and flowers and given baths. So the purification process in the first 6 months included sandalwood and myrrh. So every day for 6 months, I just doused myself in this sandalwood, and I really grew to love it. It really helped. I used to be, and I still can, get extremely anxious. And I would have panic attacks and hide in the closet and just hyperventilate. And I really believe this oil has helped me. I can refocus. And there's something about sandalwood that it kind of grounds you to your ancestral past. You know, you're grounded to who you are, but you're still uplifted to this spiritual level where you can kind of dream and hope with your feet still rooted. If that, I don't know if that makes sense at all. But that's what I feel like it does. So it's a common ingredient with Ayurvedic medicine. It supports grounding in both the body and mind, so kind of what I just touched on. And then it's good for self-massage with coconut oil, and then it encourages the mind to settle. So when I would put this on my body before I went to sleep, it would knock me out, and then it would knock my partner out too, because the smell is it's strong and it's very sensual. So it really does help to just put you to sleep. And it's an aphrodisiac. I found that out today. So, not that way, but I was reading it. Sorry, guys. Okay.
Oh, I love you.
I wish I found that out that way today. But, all right.
Well, I don't know how to, top that. But, we'll move on to cedarwood. So cedarwood is really special to me. This was one of the first oils that I was introduced to and has followed me until now. And I didn't understand why. It was all intuitive based and just a feel good, and was drawn to it when my mind wouldn't stop. And now I can really understand why. So it's known as the oil of clarity. And the reason for that is cedarwood actually has a huge impact on the cerebral part of our brain. So the cerebral is our intelligent, or where our rational mind kind of exists and lives. So it's pulling you out of the feelings, out of the kind of irrational thoughts, feelings, and that overwhelming sense of, almost like a cartoon character with a gray cloud and it just comes over you. But then all of a sudden you've got the sun that just bursts through. So it's kind of like that cartoon character pulling me into that more intellectual mind. So if I'm overwhelmed and kind of really in the thick of it is what I like to call it, just I'm fully in this feelings, thoughts, and feels very out of body. Cedarwood really draws that intellectual mind back in, and I can focus and have that more clarity and ease to move forward more effectively. I can really take that moment and then move forward. So I love cedarwood. It's very sweet. So it has a woody scent, it's the tree, but it's still got a sweetness to it. So it's got this beautiful balance between just like sweetness, but you're in the forest and it just feels very calming and relaxing. So even though it activates our intellectual part of the brain, it's not in a way that's overbearing or, all of a sudden you've got this massive IQ or something. It's more of this just rational mind and this rational ability to just be present and move through the thoughts effectively and know which discernment, again, of what is real, what is not. And it is actually a great sedative. So it's really good before bed. Again, if insomnia, or just to not even to sleep necessarily, but if you're so up and you just need to come down a bit, it can kind of release and give you that sedative effect to bring you back to a more, I wouldn't say balanced state, but I guess that feeling a bit more neutral and using your rational mind. So that's what I love cedarwood for, that stress relief. So yeah, it releases the muscle tension and melts the stress off the physical body, which has a lot to do with that sedative effect, bringing you back down. So that's kind of why I love cedarwood.
Okay. So we could go on and on about the oils, obviously, but just to give you a taste of our personal experience. And these are some tips that we thought we would share with you in finding the oils that work for you. Because as you can see, we all have our own experiences, our favorites, and there's certain oils that I'm definitely gravitating towards during certain phases of my life, and it changes. So when you want to start with a new oil, definitely just start intuitively. You know, you can get caught up in all the things and this is good for that, and that's all wonderful information, but to really experience the oils, smell a couple of them, and just choose one that really is resonating with you and take some time with it. Take a good week or two exploring that oil, and that will really help you understand how it affects you. Carrying it with you is so important. So it gets you in the habit of remembering to use it. I think a lot of us, when we start this journey, we just forget that we have these incredible tools of plant medicine in these little bottles. So just kind of getting yourself in that mode of grabbing the oil when you need it so that it becomes second nature. And then from there, you can progress as you like. So you can try one oil in the morning and one at night and experiment with different ones. I mean, it's the exploration becomes endless. You can blend them and have fun on how they work for you. It's all about self-awareness. I think the biggest takeaway for me with using the oils is that they just bring me back to myself, and they remind me to bring my breath into my body and help me feel more connected to me and not so in my head. Yeah. Any thoughts on that you guys want to share?
I think it's good too to have, little bottles or different oils in different parts of the house, or even throwing a couple in your purse, or have some in the drawer at my work. So they're always there and always available for you to use. If it's hidden away and put in a cute little box, sometimes we forget that they're there and we don't get to take advantage of the plant medicine that we have. So make sure they're available and in eyesight.
Yeah. Okay, so we thought we'd just have you take a quick moment for yourselves to think about what symptoms you experience on any level, physically, mentally, emotionally, with any kind of stress or anxious feelings, heaviness, whatever it might be. If you could just take a moment, you could share in the chat box if you feel comfortable, or just at least write it down for yourself, because I think that taking the time to reflect is important. So maybe take a couple moments to do that. And then you might just keep in mind like what oils we mentioned that you felt drawn to. I know Courtney mentioned the ylang ylang in the chat box.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And what I just realized today was that it's got a lot of the same, like, it does a lot of the same things physically that rose does when it comes to like lowering your blood pressure. It's good for hypertension. I'm like, yeah, I'm super excited. I'm gonna start telling people, like, if you can't afford rose right now, this ylang ylang might be the option.
Yeah, totally. A lot of the florals are like that. They connect us to our heart space.
Yeah. Thanks, Courtney.
So then, getting the oils in your life, there are 3 ways that you can get the oils and start having fun, because we can talk about them all day, but experiencing them is the best part. So the first way is to buy them retail, which no one on this call would do that. That's more for a situation like say a spa or a chiropractor's office or someplace like that with selling the oils. Otherwise, you can join in with us and join wholesale, which is the best way to get your oils, because then you're getting 25% off retail. The best part is access to our awesome, amazing community. And we are so grateful we found each other, because we can nerd out on all these things. Everything oils, everything wellness. We are always talking about how we're doing self-care practices in different ways, whether that be movement and our food, nutrition, all the ways. So there's a lot of tools and information that we share with our community and how to use the oils, so you're super supported. You're not just getting a box of oils and then not knowing what to do with them. And then you have access to all the points program and all of that. So you could get to the point where we are, where now we get free oils, because we've been doing orders once a month and getting all the good things, all the natural solutions in our home. The other thing you could do if you were inspired to work with the community the way that we are, the way that Maggie, Keely, and Deanna and I are, and become a wellness advocate. And so you can do that in many ways. You can share kind of casually with your family and friends, or if you wanted to build a residual income business like we are and really make this part of your life, if you feel passionate about sharing, this is definitely a servant-hearted business where people who live this lifestyle and know that it changes lives, then this is an amazing tribe to be a part of. But you can decide if you want to just be a customer or you'd like to be an advocate. In any case, we're here to support you. So I'll show you this next slide. This has our Instagram handles on there, and so you can follow us. We share quite a lot on Instagram, and we will help you get started. So if you don't have oils in your life and you want to get started, then you can chat with us and we'll help you find the best way for you. Whether it's for mental well-being or any kind of physical imbalance like digestion issues or sleep or physical body pain, whatever it is, we'll help you find oils to support that and then help you on the rest of your journey.
Beautifully said.
Anyone else have anything else to share before we close?
Yeah, just the book that actually you reference is and used to read about your oil, the Emotions and Essential Oils Guide.
Yes.
This was, so the oil for divine love or oil for clarity, a lot of those little snippets came from this book. And this doesn't really mention so much of the physical, but it has a lot of great resources on everything emotions. So this is a great resource if you're interested in learning more about the emotional aspect of oils.
Okay, so thank you everybody for joining. I hope that you learned something and that it was useful, and we're just so passionate about the oils and wellness. So we hope that we can support you if you have questions.
Yay. It was so nice to see everybody.
Yes.
I've missed you guys.
It's great to hear everyone's experiences. So thanks for being so honest and willing to do something that's a bit vulnerable. So it's really great.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you, Keely, for those awesome slides too. Those were incredible.
Yes, beautiful job. And Debbie, it was nice to meet you. You're welcome. All right, everybody. Well, I hope you have a good night or a good morning or whatever time it is for you.
Night and good day. Yes. Bye.
Yes. See you.
Bye.